party, trying to disconnect, out of body, in my element, nearly flying, ready to transcend. Then I hear my phone ring and it's you again. Complaining, so restraining. Won't you loosen your grip? Need space here. Solo raving. Give me less of your lip and pace it. Cool it with the statements, cool it with the sensitive. But no, I still hear the tone. You must be out of your mind. I'm about to leave you on silence. Out of your mind. I'm about to leave you on silence. While you're blowing up my phone line. Call me and I'ma decline. I'm gonna get back to my old time. Won't lie. I'm about to leave you on silence. Still in the party, trying to disconnect, but you gon' stop me. You won't get out my head. So cool it with the statements, cool it with the sensitive. But no, I still hear the tone. You must be out of your mind. Out of your mind. Blowing me up on my phone line. Why you blowing up my phone line? I'm about to leave you on silence. I'm about to leave you on silence. Why you blowing up my phone line? Call me and I'ma decline. I'm gonna get back to my old time. It's you want this real or bliss. I can hardly follow. You wanna take, I wanna take, like we gon' young tomorrow. You want this real or bliss. I can hardly follow. You wanna take, I wanna take. I'm about to leave you on silence.
Thank you for being here today. This is a really special event for so many people, not only here today as part of the audience, but around the world as well. It gives me my great pleasure to introduce my mate, scientist Dr. Robert Duncan. Would you please make him welcome? So we're just going to have a discussion today, back and forward, about a major topic that's affecting the world, and I'm just going to pass this over to Robert to initiate the whole discussion and give us a little bit of background on yourself, and
Sure.
that'll be wonderful.
Okay. I'm not sure how much background you want, but I consider myself one of the last Renaissance scientists, last Renaissance man. And I've studied everything from Beethoven to Shakespeare. I went to a private school in Connecticut, and then on to Harvard on the East Coast, where I was early accepted. They allowed me to graduate in 3 years. I declined, not Harvard, but to graduate early, because there's so many great classes to still take, and my parents were paying for it. So. I worked at an artificial intelligence company. I forgot to mention, my undergrad focus was pre-medical and computer science. I decided I don't like blood of any kind. So unlike the rest of my family, I didn't become a doctor, a medical doctor. I liked robots and technology and computers. So after that, I worked for an artificial intelligence company that did image recognition of all types. And I went back to school for a master's in biomechanical engineering, robotic engineering, like artificial hearts and those types of engineering majors. And then I went to school again, a different Ivy League, and got a business degree, a master's of business administration, and then did a stint in some other work, went back for more schooling, get a PhD in artificial intelligence, but a very specific field, which is genetic algorithm optimization of artificial neural networks. So what that means is we were creating alien synthetic minds, emerging minds. And it's, when I say alien, it's not from another planet. We're just creating cybernetic minds. And there's a Dr. Wiener, and I think it was about 100 years ago when the CIA was created, that coined the term cybernetics, which means there is no distinction between a synthetic symbolic representation of intelligence or a biological one. In fact, they meet. You can have brain chips if you want, and it will all give rise to consciousness.
Wernher von Braun gave me the assignment of preventing the weaponization of outer space from happening. But what he said to me over and over again was that his real concern, his greatest concern, was about psychotronic weapons.
Did he discuss what those were?
No. He didn't discuss what they were, but he repeated over and over to me that this was the real concern. This is what we should really be concerned about. Those are mind-controlled weapons, mind-controlled people or technology. Very dangerous weapons. The first big speech that I gave for Wernher von Braun was in July of 1974. It was soon after I had met him, just a few months after I had met him. He gave me the assignment of speaking in Chicago at McCormick Hall to 18,000 people. The only other speech I had ever given was in a PT.
Snowden says he was astonished back then at the access he had at his fingertips, most notably including a computer program that, as he put it, could get inside your thought process.
When I think about an instance that really just struck me as, oh my God, we can do this, and that we can do it to anyone, was that people at NSA, analysts, can actually watch people's internet communications, watch them draft correspondence, and actually watch their thoughts form as they type. As you write a message, you know, an analyst at the NSA or any other service out there that's using this kind of attack against people can actually see you write sentences and then backspace over your mistakes and then change the words and then kind of pause and think about what you wanted to say and then change it. And it's this extraordinary intrusion, not just into your communications, your finished messages, but your actual drafting process, into the way you think.
Put these earphones in and they're going to try to do a series of tests. Okay, so I'm now hearing sort of whispers and voices in my head, and the first test is some number puzzles.
Listen, you suck and they know it. You get this, right?
Okay, so I did this test for 3 minutes and I did not get a single one. It's very hard to concentrate if it's like music or something constant, it's easy, but people talking to you, it's very difficult. So now I'm going to be asked a series of questions by a producer, Susan, and these are basically a series of questions that a person would be asked if they were being admitted to a hospital.
Can you tell me what day it is?
Yeah, it's Sunday, June, I don't know, 7.
So I'm going to say 5 numbers, and I want you to repeat them back to me after I'm done.
Okay.
You're okay.
5, 23, 67, 2, 76.
5, 23, 67, something 76.
I'm going to say 5 words. You don't have to repeat them, but just listen to them.
You'll be near.
Cat,
Near
book,
to me.
cigar,
I'll make it
damage,
okay.
and rain.
Make you okay.
Can you name the last 4 presidents of the United States?
Okay for you to be
Barack
here.
Obama, George
Near
Bush,
Here. Here. Right here.
Bill
Near.
Clinton, and George Bush.
Hear it? Hear
So
it
those
now?
5 words I said before, can you remember any of
Near
them?
and here. Hear it.
No. It's hard because sometimes the voices are like whispering, and sometimes they're
You're
aggressive,
okay
and
now.
sometimes they're kind of comforting. And
Hear the tree.
but again, with people kind of talking to you all the time,
It's okay.
it's hard.
Don't worry. Now or later.
So I'm going
Don't
to try to
worry.
make a boat out
You
of
all right?
origami following these instructions.
Hey, it'll be okay. Near, near. Get near. Shut up!
I want to talk back to the voices now, but it's really distracting. It's,
Do not do it. Do not touch that. Stop. Eyes down. You suck! What are you looking at? This is easy. You want to touch that?
I can't do this.
Hand down. Keep your eyes down. Just do it, Stuart. Just do it. Just do it. Filthy mind. Leave it alone.
It's also frustrating because they're telling me I can't do it, and so I didn't do a very good job with the boat. But it's really hard to focus when kind of people are whispering to you and talking to you.
Just come clear. Come near to me. Come near for help.
Hey, do you have yesterday's paper? Yesterday's New York Times? No? Okay. I'll just get today's. It's incredibly distracting on the street to have somebody talk in your head, and it makes you feel completely isolated from everyone else around you, and you don't want to engage in conversation with other people. You kind of find yourself wanting to engage in conversation with a voice in your head because they're constantly being really negative and talking to you, and everything they're saying relates to things that you're actually doing. They're criticizing things you're doing. It's like it's like you have a chorus watching you and commenting on what you're doing, and you can't help it. I mean, I literally find myself wanting to kind of respond to them, kind of tell them to be quiet, and it's incredibly unpleasant. This is a very, very unpleasant experiment. It's really, it's eye-opening because it kind of really shows you what other people must be going through who deal with this on a regular basis. But also, like, I cannot wait to take these headphones off because it's really depressing. It's very negative. It makes you feel very, very negative. It's very creepy. I want it to stop.
Eyes down. Back up. Stand up now. I'll count you off. I'll count 20, 30, 40. Stand up now. Walk away.
You're okay.
Walk now.
Pacify. On to pacify. All the way to make it home.
Mind Control V2K on the news broadcast. European Coalition Task Force. Activities are being organized around the world by victims worldwide of electronic torture to They use the absurd and occult and arcane code of conduct and lead the world into nonsense beliefs of what once Illuminati was, meaning e.g. the PPL who were enlightened didn't use that word, and in short, enlightenment meant that everyone carries it in oneself, that truth leads to trust, and trust to love, all best without violence, force nor totality. If you don't know what to do, try it with your truth. It may lead to trust in your listener and that the basis for love. Arthur was truth, Isolde love, the Eddas, the Upanishads, Parsifal, Romeo and Juliet, Arthur and the Champions, all says this same holy grail, truth, trust, love. Arthur was born on Anisola, Her Highness, the immortal evergreen. Happy is who spreads peace, BCS these will be children of good, peace, love, luck and happiness. This is a collection of reports from victims of psychoelectronic aka psychotronic torture using V2K techniques. Collected on the internet. I am a victim for like 34 years now. In fact, they started tracking and recording my life perception since I was 5, maybe earlier. I believe it was in 1987 when I saw a TR-3B hovering. The United States of America's Army's military thesaurus defines voice-to-skull V2K devices as follows. Voice-to-skull devices. Non-lethal weapons, which includes one a neuroelectromagnetic device which uses microwave transmission of sound into the skull of persons or animals by way of pulse-modulated microwave radiation, and 2 a silent sound device which can transmit sound into the skull of persons or animals. Note: the sound modulation may be voice or audio subliminal messages. Acronym: V2K. Source: http: obsolete. Army.mil. 0001625.htm, obsolete. If you are a victim and want your report listed here, feel free to email your report to obsolete@gmail.com. You as a reader of the reports have to know this. The victims often are directed into bad mind games, and many will realize only over time that they basically have to do nothing about it but to ignore it even if threatened in many sadistic ways. For the people doing this, today's technique is 100% like in the movie Avatar, as if they were you noticing all of your impressions, thoughts and feelings, but with humans. They can control you as you do yourself in any way, plus many things more, like giving you paints and even the feelings, and blends of, the feelings of other people. They can stop your thoughts and also change them. Example, you think about a red car, the operators imagine the car is blue and viola, you have a blue car in your mind, and even seeing on the street, but that is fake perception, like computed hallucinations. They can couple into any person around you on the go as well, no implants are needed to do so. The victims may think it is their own thoughts and actions, that is one way, the other is that the victim can be blacked out and they won't even know that something happened. The perpetrators have the technology to use any voice in your head and can switch it like with a vocoder. Many are tricked to believe there are even crowds or people you may know talking and harassing you. As of today, it is bad they try to blame it to be some mental disorder or illness. It is super horror. They call this plausible deniability. Human rights as well as the Nuremberg Code are not negotiable. The Nuremberg Code is the output of the officially stopped MKUltra, and regulates experiments on humans internationally, but it is ignored. Together we are the targeted individual united association, and together we make it better. They quote as well the record from the session of the Russian Federation Federal Council where Velopatyin stated that psychotronic weapon can cause the blocking of the freedom of will of the human being on a subliminal level, or installation into the consciousness or subconsciousness of a human being of information which will cause faulty perception of the reality. For that matter, they propose the preparation of national legislative as well as the norms of international law aimed at the defense of human psyche against subliminal, destructive, informational effects. Open out. Blue yes please. Regulate it and make public please. We wish stream together psychotronic mind gaming, e.g. a version of Doom, a scenario called Millennium. It's a socializing psychotronic dreamscape game with much space for costumes and slacking on the Millennium Square. Then we have a version of Battlefield, and there is already a good MMORPG possible in psychotronic lucid dreamscapes. Some fractured footage for deep intense impressions, we already have with the possibility to go nuts, but heck, it's mind games, first evil, but done right, perfect for all, especially the elderly. They can run on beaches instead of suffering if so. As well, they propose the declassification of all works on this technology and warn that, as a consequence of the classification, the arms race is speeding up, making the psychotronic war probable. Among the possible sources of remote influence on human psyche, they list the generators of physical fields of known as well as unknown nature. This is a total psychological, emotional, physiological and financial assault paradigm, and a continuous criminal assault on human beings in order to break him down completely from all corners. But the pathetic point is that no one believes in the victim, as the unassuming and ignorant mind always revolves around common logic and beliefs of normal crimes and existing modes of criminality. Police ignorance in this regard helps the organized crime syndicates to get pampered, who in the process, makes the victim look like a suspect, guilty of something, or mentally ill patient who has got no little credibility left because of well-orchestrated accusations, lies, rumors, bogus investigations, setups, framing, intimidation, humiliation, emotional terror done with the help of psychological warfare tactics against him. Open out. Blue they do mind games and directing. They develop a story on the go with always the aim to insecure you and drive you nuts. Call ever in all of their attacks Scheme F if they send it into your brain. If they ask what's Scheme F, also say, that's Scheme F also. It may give your brain rest. Know this, they always play with guilt feelings and try put you in a bad light. That's a method, try not eat it. Here are some reports of what was done to targeted individuals worldwide. It is thousands in total, global scale. Potential for doom, but also for heaven. The dawn of mixed reality, psychotronics and feudability. Psychotronics couples directly with your brain. A carrier signal, available globally without implants on single and crowd targets, is projected directly into life. Perception, including feeling and emotion. I think all the world should consider put the cards on the table and demand a global, The main concept for living a happy life. Knowing Psychotronics doesn't know many firewalls, the brain can develop concepts to countermeasure psychotronic manipulation, but you can't basically do anything against it. You're safe in some way though. You will remain yourself by personality even after a hard distortion of perception. We need technology and we need to think futurable. Why not also a mixture of science and entertainment? With Psychotronics, you have the future in your mind. Let's make it good. Maybe trying to go on some path of truth, trust and love, all without violence or force. We need a good atmosphere for being creative and not fearing to tell one's truth. Truth leads to trust, and trust to love. You could say fear prevents love from being, so it's very important we have no violence nor force. With Psychotronics, you can interconnect yourself with someone else. There is some pretty clever technology that can amplify any of your imagination's scope, including dreams. Think of a picture of a blue car. Have it in crystal clear, dreamlike resolution in your mind. The amplifier does its job very good. There is a huge sample database of human brain signals, which reflect pretty much any state a living being can have. You trigger it with your thoughts, which are approximately almost instantly up to 1-2 seconds readily interpretable in advance of possible human perception. My own guess based on observation when the virtual intelligence try to replace and alter my original thoughts and impressions. Really my whole perception of everything. Into a very bad and shitty, raping way. Psychotronics need regulation and it needs global public attention. If you have an idea, you could send it to InfoSmile. Let's create the word we love together. And remember, human rights are not negotiable. Science mustn't be harmful. We need to find ways to learn without disturbing. Let's see what the future brings, and in case our heads down ATM, be sure you have the true hope all can go and be good. The electric potential of the mind. Let's think about the possibilities by intelligently retransmitting such, even living dynamic, signatures, wireless into the perceptor's recognition. Plus, you are not alone. Thanks to Psychotronics, a whole focus group can interconnect their minds, inner eyes and ears and perceive any stimuli signatures, recorded generated, together, in a aware dreamlike state of yourself and others' imagination, emotion, vision, sound, ideas and well even body movement if wanted. That and more is advanced augmented reality. Good for health sciences, education, entertainment, and much more. Together with Psychotronics, key future technologies become a reality. 100% holodeck avatar, strange days, inception, gamer-like. What? This in fact already 90 years old technology lacks since today, is regulation and public awareness. So spread the word. Equals.
You will be joining a lecture from Professor Anthony Sutton.
Physics, well, didn't work very well. So then I got to thinking about, okay, is there some other way to try? There's only certain things about that universe that we're going to be sensitive to. We're not going to. That is, that we, and in fact we know neurophysiologically our brains go to some trouble to give us this one thread of attention. And it isn't the case that, in all the neurons in our brain.
How to be brave? How can I love when I'm afraid to fall? Watching each
Hi, good people. It's Sherry.
all of my doubts.
I would like to have some free and valuable information for you as usual. And this time, I would like to speak with you about a very important subject. And it is called EEG heterodyning, also known as cloning. And I would like to talk with you about what this actually is, briefly. Pretty simple, and once you put it into layman's terms. And then I would like to speak about
It's good to be here. My name is Steve Hoffman, but in Silicon Valley they call me Captain Hoff. That is my nickname. I am the captain of Founderspace, and Founderspace is an incubator and accelerator. It went flat. Here we go. Yeah, an incubator and accelerator that works all over the world. So I spend 70% of my time traveling the globe looking at new technology. We have over 50 partners in 22 countries. And Founderspace has been rated by Forbes magazine as the #1 accelerator for overseas startups in Silicon Valley. We have had many famous startups in our co-working space, Soma Central, like Instagram, AngelList, Foursquare, and today I'm going to talk about some of the technologies that most fascinate me. So, this is technologies are the future of the brain, our human brain, and where it is headed with technology. So if we examine our brain, we will realize that for over 100,000 years, our brain has remained the same.
Here it is. September 1988. It is the start of the fall semester at the University of California, Davis, where Cheryl Welch is beginning life as a law student.
I grew up in Sacramento, California. I was a receptionist at Kaiser Hospital for 10 years. I decided that I wanted to go back to school, so I went to UC Davis.
But as her studies get underway, things change.
I know what normal life is, and life became very abnormal.
The Brain Invaders conspiracy. Dr. Robert Duncan put together the technology that allows the government to transmit thoughts and voices into the heads of Americans.
Trying to disconnect, out of body, in my element, nearly flying, ready to transcend. Then I hear my phone ring and it's you again, complaining, so restraining. Won't you loosen your grip, need space here, solo raving. Give me less of your lip and pace it. Cool it with the statements, cool it with the sensitive, but no.